Thank you again, everybody, for tuning into Health Tech Invest. I've got an exciting guest for us today. His name is Dr. Ilias Tagkopoulos. He wears multiple hats. He is the chairman and founder of PIPA. He is a professor at UC Davis, and he is also a director at the USDA AI Institute. If that is accurate, please correct me there, Ilias. But you're awesome, and welcome to the show.
Thank you, John. Nice to be here.
So just to kick us off this morning, you've worn multiple hats: scientist, professor, entrepreneur, and now you're the chairman and founder of PIPA. Could you share the arc of your journey and what first drew you into AI and computational biology?
Yeah, so I'm an electrical engineering major, and one of the projects that we did early on in VLSI design, it was simulating the gene regulatory networks within cells. Simulate that with transistors and polysilicon. And that was the first time I saw how important data is and how you can learn and figure out the associations. Correlation more than causality when the data is low. And that hooked me in. I said, okay, good. Machine learning, optimization, AI. And everything we did from that time after, that's like 25 years now, it's all in the data phase of computer science, AI optimization, biology, and other fields like clinical agriculture and nutritional. The past years, it was how can you use AI to optimize the process of discovery, of innovation, and how can you have these build, test, iterate, learn cycles that they can do things faster, better, cheaper.
Mm-hmm. So you also spend a little bit of time. Have you ever spent any time in industry before getting into your current stint? Did you do anything at the very beginning of your career that built a bit of a foundation for you and how you view the world?
Yeah, 2008, I joined Credit Suisse at the time.
Wow. Wall Street.
Yeah.
Really good.
I was a deputy.
It's an interesting time to join Wall Street.
Interesting time, exactly. It was a few weeks before the crash. No correlation at all.
The real reason, everybody. The real reason.
And then I joined UC Davis, and the moment I joined, the week after, they furloughed the salaries. So careful whoever is listening. Do not drive. It was initially a quant, more of a relationship manager between the front office and the middle office, which the models were created, especially in quantitative arbitrage and multi-ask arbitrage. And that again, a lot of data, a lot of machine learning at the time, figuring out how the market responds to different perturbations. Very exciting. Again, if you look, everything has a common core in terms of algorithms, in terms of methods. You need data, you need a machine that is able to associate, and from those associations predict and recommend. And that is your AI.
But so the Wall Street side of the house did not suck you in, right? You weren't taken aback. What made you kind of step out of the role? I mean, obviously the economy wasn't doing so well at the time, but you're a really smart guy, and you probably could have made a name for yourself on Wall Street. What was it about Wall Street, or what was it about your current situation that kind of drew you to it?
Great question. And I always thought of this because it was his decision. So first of all, when I joined Credit Suisse, it was a pretty tumultuous time. But at the same time, whenever you have adversity, you have a lot of opportunities. So I was very, very happy. How we actually progressed, and I could see that things would get better for people who stayed in maybe not the same company, but generally in the sector. And I was doing fine. It was just that I am, as you said, like the 3 E's: educator, engineer, entrepreneur. And there is a little bit of engineering in Wall Street. Well, financial engineering, a lot of financial engineering, but less on education and entrepreneurship. So I wanted to actually go down that path. Now, it is painful because we're talking about the 70 to 80% pay cut. But it ended up being the right decision.
That's awesome. No, that's great. And now you've been at UC Davis for some time. You're at the forefront of research. How has academia shaped the way you build and run companies?
Great question again. So academia gives you the freedom to think, to take your time. Once you have tenure, that's the only point where you
Caveat.
yeah. But once you have tenure, you have again, you can actually go for anything that you want. And that's a big thing. Like something that I really cherish is being able to go for the long-term projects that may not be commercially viable or even translate commercially early on, but at the end, they actually lead to something that's really powerful and really impactful. Now, what I don't like in academia is some people are only doing that and they are not translating what they have found into actual palpable impact. So I have found, and it recently was frustrated with the second point. So I found the best of both worlds, really the sweet spot by being in academia, interacting with these young minds and being able to give back to society while you're thinking freely. And at the same time, being an entrepreneur and collaborating with some of the biggest companies in the world, bringing into the market, to our society, products that reach and touch millions and millions of lives. That is what I find very, very powerful, and I'm glad that I'm fortunate to have found something like that.
That's awesome. That's inspirational. I really love that. So you mentioned the tenureship piece, right? What would you compare that to? So would you compare that to going to medical school, law school, getting tortured by terrorists? What's the sorry, that's a terrible analogy, but what would you compare it to? Is there an analogy there for you?
Yeah. Okay, so tenure from one university to another, even department to another department, is very, very different.
Yeah.
It depends on the age and the pressure, and also the criteria that's being given. Sometimes you have a lot of toxicity, a lot of bean counting. In other cases, you have amazing colleagues and an infrastructure that supports. It doesn't. It's one thing to hire 4 assistant professors because you just keep one and you have these 4, just competing for one position. It's another thing that once you hire somebody, you really want them to stay if they perform. That's a very different model. Likely, I was on the second. It was more of a collaborative assessment of your capabilities and your trajectory. If I was to compare tenure track, it's more like an engagement before the marriage.
Okay.
You're in love. Things are going well, but let's see what will happen in 5 years if we're still together. Do we want to have kids? It's do you want to get married forever and ever, or maybe there are other opportunities? And with its ups and downs.
Okay. So maybe this is it's the non-binding term sheet phase, right?
Exactly.
Non-binding term sheet phase.
It's the LOI phase, yeah.
Or it's the LOI phase. We'll see if we take things to the next level. That's very cool. Very cool example. Yeah, I've heard horror stories from people about tenureship, but I've also heard really good things about tenureship. So I guess it depends where you go to school.
If I can comment here, for me personally, and that's a personal experience, I never cared about tenure. I said, I'll do whatever I love to do. And if they don't like me here, I'll go somewhere else. Academia. It doesn't matter. If you believe in yourself, and there is nothing that stops you. So tenure is just it's a milestone. Doesn't matter. And the whole, even work, it's like a means to an end. And the end is always about impact and value to our society. It's never about being a professor or being a billionaire or whatever. It's what do you really create that will solve the problem that our society has? That's awesome. That's the real value.
That's awesome. No, it's really, really insightful. That's actually really insightful and applicable to everything in life. And all listeners out there should think about that in a similar context. I love it. Let's move on to PIPA and some of the AI platforms that you're building. So for the listeners who may not know, tell us about what PIPA is and how is it reimagining the way we discover and develop new therapies?
Great. So PIPA is a startup company that I founded, almost a decade ago, 2015. Initially, it was anything under the sun for machine learning and AI in terms of applied and providing the impact to the world. That was from financial forecasting and drug development and probiotics early on and multi-omics analysis of data, whatever our clients wanted. Very soon in 2017-18, because of a personal experience, we pivoted into food and nutrition. At the time, my son had some issues with headaches. We had to take him from school. We couldn't figure out what it was. And it was either taking some drugs that was given usually for epilepsy or doing something alternative. So we chose to go for some trips. Nothing happened during those trips except that we came together with some nutritionists, with some friends, and we gave a different diet. And it turned out it was because of a diet chemical imbalance. So in a few weeks, we saw some changes. In a couple months, my son was cured. And I said, okay, great. There's such a need for people knowing more. That is more in healthcare rather than drugs, which are great. Don't get me wrong. I mean, thank God for drugs. But there is so much more we can do with our diet and lifestyle to prevent us to become sick in the first place. So we have real healthcare, taking care of chronic inflammation and other underlying root causes for all the maladies that we have today.
Amazing. So it's interesting. Just like every great founder story, there's always some kind of personal motivation there, right? Something that's really driving you to build it. So did you establish PIPA first and then pivot according to this issue with your son, right? And get inspired
Exactly.
to go this direction? I see. Very interesting. That's very interesting. And how long did it take? I mean, was it years of toggling his kind of nutrition, or did you actually use the algorithm to figure out your son's issue, or how?
No, I wish I was able to say that no, it's okay. The AI did in people. No, it was actually
trial and error. Yeah,
it was human ingenuity and years of experience from some friends. Had a friend from Northwestern who retired. He was a surgeon. And he took basically the lead here and some nutritionist friends, and we created diet. They created the diet that we followed. And we looked at the mechanism of action, the molecular pathways of why that might happen. So we didn't have AI at the center of this.
Very interesting. Did you so tell us a little bit about you've focused on nutrition. Nutrition has been sort of has really been the epicenter of the platform today. And according to kind of the website and according to my experience with the company, you're propagating kind of AI as a service model. Can you talk a little bit about what that means and what does that mean practically speaking for a customer?
Yeah. So the servicing customers with AI needs has evolved over the years. Early on, it was more about customers may have some data, maybe the right data, maybe not, maybe dirty, maybe clean. Usually it was they had a problem and we were just trying to find what the right data are that the client can gather them or have them already. And we were trying to persuade the client that AI is the way, or at least is one of the ways to solve the problem together with other methods. It was pretty interesting early on people didn't understand what AI is. People still don't understand really what AI is, but much more educated and knowledgeable these days. This has evolved and morphed over the years to going through the garden cycle of excitement and disillusionment and then enlightenment, right? So what we are seeing now is this went from, oh, what is AI? And actually I had people saying, oh, so you're in artificial insemination. So it was, I said, okay, no. The picture was associated with it.
Not the quite AI as a service as you
Exactly. As a service. With animals.
Wow.
So, and because even understanding, people were using words like deep learning, machine learning.
Wow.
They didn't understand what it is. And then when AI is machine learning AI, but vice versa. Then it went to, okay, now we get that AI is here to stay. This was 2018, 19. Well, we see some productivity, but not in our segment, in our business. Especially we're talking about traditional food nutrition business, CPG businesses. Healthcare, we could see, again, AI having some impact and some followers. When I started in 2012, I tried to do a lot in AI, have some papers published and work with hospitals, AI in healthcare, especially in sepsis optimization, prediction of what kind of actions are optimal, looking at Alzheimer's and other AI predictors and recommendation engines. It was very difficult. Now we're talking about 2010, 2012. You should see my NIH reviews. We're saying that this will never happen. Never have expert systems in AI and medicine, AI. They tried it with oracles in the 1980s. It will never ever happen. I mean, I want to talk to those reviewers now. So the way that it evolved over the years, it was, okay, from what is AI to why do we need AI? Then, yeah, I get it, but it's good for me to talk about AI, but it's more of a salad dressing because I know people are more excited, to nowadays being, oh my God, I mean, of course we're going to have AI and it's already part of our organization. Tell us like why what you're doing is better than what we have already, which is a more mature state. We still have some perception that AI is the magic box that can do everything, and people are trusting it more than they should. Because it has become more frictionless, we can go now to any kind of LLM from ChatGPT to Anthropic's Claude, etc. And you can actually ask any question and it will give you an answer that it's pretty impressive, right? Like we all know what I'm talking about. But when you're going for decisions that they have a cost, either monetary or lives, you have to be certain. You have to be, you cannot just trust pretty words and some. You need to be certain that this is the right course of actions. And this is where the game is being played now. Codifying workflows and streamlining them in a way that they are easier. And second is making sure that those workflows are the right ones and they can be trusted. So these are the two main things where money are being made.
Interesting. Do you when you engage a new customer, do you occasionally go through an exercise of like really proving to them that AI can be very fruitful? So do you jump in and say, you know what, let's pick any business problem that you have and we're going to prove to you how powerful this tool is, and then you kind of go through the motions. Do you engage at that level, or is it a little bit more specific and a little bit more technical and more advanced than that?
Yeah, great question. Every client is different. Some of them are more mature. Some of them, they haven't tried yet, or they have bad taste in their mouth because of all the engagement. Yeah. Usually we do an exploratory pilot project where there is a lower risk by, if there is chemistry, if there is value and impact, before we actually go to the next phase, which is our impact projects, bigger, longer term projects, 6 to 12 months. And for clients who have operated for a longer time, or clients that they really have a need, we can go to operate projects. Those are projects that they are large in value, multi-year, and they are integrated in a very sticky way within their own industry. It may be operation of a factory or part of the R&D teams, and accelerate the innovation there in a way that it integrates really well with their value chain.
Interesting. Yeah, very interesting. Very interesting. Yeah, no, I mean, I could ask you a million and one questions, but wanna move on because there's other topics to discuss. But I know that PIPA has one of its unique competitive advantages is around the clock workforce. You have a team overseas, and there's always continuity. Can you talk a little bit about your global workforce and why you structured it that way and what the advantages are?
Yeah. So when we started PIPA 2015, again, the world was a different place. AI and machine learning was not as popular as it is now. So finding talent, it was more difficult than now. And also the tools were not there. Now you can create a predictor, like anyone can create a predictor that's okay, pretty fast, in 5 minutes. This was not the case 10 years ago. So we need to go where talent is, and also at the right price, because it's one thing to find talent, the other is to pay it. And when you're competing in a sector that it is not advertisement and high tech as if you call as Google or those kind of players are, Microsoft, and you want to compete against them, but in food and nutrition, you have a problem in terms of the salary you can actually pay. It's like 4x maybe, or 3x lower at the time. You could find, you have to go to somewhere where the talent is high, but at the same time you can train them. And we found talent elsewhere, not only in United States. That was one of the reasons. The other reason is that a lot of our clients are international. And as we know, we have clients all over the world, different continents. So it is fine. It's good actually to have teams in different parts of the world. Of course, the challenge is how do you organize, how to coordinate any kind of challenges with administration and governance. But it's in a fast-paced world where you're selecting for this doer mentality in your workforce, when these associates that you have, these employees are kids, that then I say that I think that we are kids also. When you still have your curiosity and you want to learn, that they want to do stuff and have impact and be proud of that. They want to learn. Then you find a way. So PIPA today is like has 80 employees, and they are again through three different companies.
How many? 18 or 80? 80.
80.
Yeah, big company, 80 people. That's great. That's great. That all started, and in 2015 it was just you, right?
Yeah.
So it's
true.
Yeah. How do you do that? How do you find talent in these international markets? Like what advice do you have for folks? Do you start with gig economy and expand from there? How do you hire people in international markets?
Yeah. So initially when you start, nobody knows you. I mean, I would say that if somebody knows you, if you're from Google or you're OpenAI, you go to international markets. It's very different from the new startup that it's just the founder or founders. And your first employees are so important. So important because you don't have resources in a very tender position. I, again, going back to academia industry, I was fortunate that I had PhD students that were finishing. I have 5 years. I know how good they were, and especially one of my first in the company. I knew that I could trust the outcomes, and he knew how we were working together. So that helped a lot. And having that either bring from your ecosystem and environment, these first employees, or because of being in a position like I was, that helps a lot. Okay, so let's start from there. Like having trusted people, your first handful of people being trusted, it's amazing. This makes a huge change. It's different. Then when you're a small company, it might pay off going with some recruiters.
Yep.
That they know the local market and they can help you. Because just having LinkedIn ads might not work. Once you are big enough and people know you, and big may be like 20 people, doesn't have to be like 200. And people know you, then you can start adding one headhunter, for example, in as an employee, right? For us, this happened when we were like 30, 40 people, and it was completely changed the landscape. Like we now have more than 5,000 applications for 20 positions.
Wow.
Completely. For me, it was one of the biggest HR aha moments.
So you hired an internal recruiter, right? You brought in an internal person.
Correct.
Yeah, that makes total sense. Interesting. Yeah, so you kind of like, so in summary, you protect the core by bringing really high quality people near you, right? Just in and around you, because the company is very much, founded by you and the vision is set by you. And then it falls from there, right? So if you hire those really, really good people near you, and that you have confidence in, it really those people then get led by the people that you feel most comfortable with, and so the quality of what transcends between you and I mean, it's 80 people now, right? So it's a big number of employees. Is consistent, right? There's a consistent kind of like quality across the board. So
exactly.
Interesting. Yeah, this is we have this challenge all the time, Ilias, with companies, right? You go from 0 to 25, but going from 25 to 100, that is the most challenging, right? That is literally the most challenging thing. And it sounds like you figured it out. But you were very selective about your 25, it sounds like. So
exactly.
Yeah.
And the number one principle that we followed, it was the environment, the workplace should be a workplace you want to be in. So we have zero tolerance for any toxic behavior, for any kind. So we're very selective, as you said, Tom. On number one, more than talent. We had people who were very talented, came to us, but we see that the fit is not there in terms of mentality. We didn't actually proceed. We were very careful. Now, once you have that, you have a great environment. Of course, there's pressure to deliver, or it's a startup environment, right? Like you think that people are working hard, right? You still have that, but the environment, your colleagues, the scientific rigor and stimulation. You're not doing the repetitive thing all the time. You're actually innovating within that, and the freedom to operate, the freedom to think. That actually is what made PIPA being a company that a lot of people want to come for less money, like high talent, less money, because they say, this is it. This is what I want. I want something I can be proud of.
Interesting. So let me ask you, now that you brought the topic of money up. So you hear about these things in Silicon Valley a lot. So you may have heard of this guy, this Facebook engineer who was at Google. He's now at Facebook, Meta, but he was at Google, and Mark Zuckerberg personally recruited him, but gave him a $200 million pay package, right?
Yeah.
So and it's very specific to AI for whatever reason. It's not sales, it's not M&A, it's not finance, it's always AI, right? That's the most highly coveted skill set right now. What's your take on that? I mean, are the best AI people worth $200 million? Would it be worth it to you to bring someone like that onto PIPA and to take things to the next level? What's your philosophy on this?
Yes. So the easy answer, let me answer the question. No, it will not be worth. It depends on the, if the sector has the capacity to actually, this person, whatever that person is, to actually deliver value. Because if you pay somebody 200 million, you're expecting them to give you like 2 billion. And you're expecting to make money 10x, right?
That's right. That's right. Got it.
In the food sector and nutrition sector, although it should be, it's a multi-trillion-dollar sector, right? It's something that our lives depend on it. So it should be that. It's not that. Like the salaries are a fraction of what they are normally for an AI engineer in Silicon Valley. And so that doesn't doesn't compute. That doesn't make it. The question is like, how do you figure out who you are bringing and what is worth? There is not a foolproof formula, but again, you can see, I mean, it's the vision that you have, the infrastructure you have to actually deliver that. It might be colleagues, technology, tech stack, can be clients, can be distribution network, whatever it is. And whether that person is an allocator to the whole vision and opportunity. And then you're saying, okay, if it's an allocator, if it's the missing piece, then you're valuing that piece.
I see. Yeah. Let's no, this is great. I have a few follow-up questions to a few things. We'll get into the future of AI in a moment, but I wanted to ask you a couple more questions. What's your philosophy on so do you do anything in drug discovery and healthcare? Do you see opportunities for AI in drug discovery and healthcare? I know your website touches on it. You and I have discussed it in the past. What's your philosophy there? Is there a play for PIPA in the biotech space?
Yeah, so there are companies that all they do is drug discovery in healthcare, right? Drug discovery specifically. So PIPA, especially after the event, before that, we were towards that route because this is where the money is, right? But and then the impact, money and impact. But now it's more about food that it hits the trifecta of being affordable and accessible. That's one. So it doesn't cost like an arm and a leg. Second, it has the second sensory qualities that you're looking for. So it tastes good, it looks good, the texture is the right one, the mouthfeel, etc. And the third one is good for your health. It's nutritious. It has the right bioactivity, the right compounds. It gives you like the anti-inflammatory molecules, the antioxidant peptides, the anti-hypertension. So that is where we're operating. We're saying, okay, good. One way you can go to a single biological molecule and go for drug discovery and repurposing or whatever it's from that side. And we definitely have done work there, and we have also published also from the academic side on those topics. But we saw that's a big gap out there for creating food that doesn't only taste good, but it's good for your health, for your body and mind. Mm-hmm. And that is where we're focused. We are saying, okay, what does the market needs and want? And how do you translate that into a product? How do you formulate with AI? How you have the right ingredients that don't break the bank? How do you put them together in a process? How do you set up the oven, the fermentor, the extrusion, the extruder in the right temperature, pressure, sear rate, whatever it is, in order to have the final product that is hitting that sweet spot, that the consumer will buy it and will be very happy, consciously and unconsciously, because their body is going to be, in much better shape.
Interesting. So is this mantra around food is medicine? Is that kind of the mindset here? So there's a way to extract clinical value out of food. Is that the idea at some level? Or is that,
completely.
Yeah.
Actually, food is it's better than medicine. It keeps you healthy. Medicine, we have it as something that you're becoming sick and you're getting a drug, medicine to.
It's a Band-Aid.
It's a Band-Aid. You don't need it. Food is the item that makes you not to need a Band-Aid. Yeah, that's important. Yeah. Let's start from there, right? It's better to keep ourselves healthy versus just waiting to us to become sick and then taking medicine to become healthy again if we can, right? Or treating even the symptoms, even worse, not going to the root cause. So let's start from there. So completely, I mean, we know that from ancient times, it's completely right. Food is better than or is medicine, and it is part of a healthy lifestyle. It's a very central part. This is where everything starts. Okay, people need to realize that, and they do more or less. The issue with food is, first, we don't have instant impact, if you will. or something that is not visible from in one day. Like if I have a headache and I take an aspirin or Advil, in 3-4 hours I may not have a headache. Oh my God! Okay, that's great. That's instant. If I eat well versus eating fast food all the time, I might see the effects in 6 to 12 months. I will not see it like in 3 hours. That's one. The time scale is different, and even more so, our food has been created so it hooks us in and makes us like feel great in the next few seconds or minutes as we eat it. So it's almost like a drug, but from the bad drugs. it's a
The drug.
it's the whole incentive is to eat more food and makes you feel, oh my God, I want more and more. And in terms of nutrition, in terms of health, not being there. Because creating healthy food means that maybe more satiety, you don't eat so much, not so much so many calories, it might not taste as good as if I like it's full of sugar and full of things that you don't want to, or look at as good if you have artificial color or whatever. So we have a misalignment of what it takes for commercial success versus what it takes for being healthy.
So that's exactly what I was thinking. You sort of read my mind. There's a misalignment right now. So right now I see what tastes great is not the healthiest thing for us, right? Or maybe there's a little bit of a misnomer, right? Because I had steak for dinner last night. It tasted phenomenally. And I can find papers that say it's terrible for me, but I can also find papers that say that it's really good for my brain and it's great for brain health and moderation, et cetera. How do we, so what the heck happened in the nutrition space? Why does everything that tastes good or makes us feel good for those split seconds that we're consuming it, and maybe even afterwards, why are those foods so bad for us in general, right? Why is McDonald's so bad? Why is Burger King so bad? They taste great, right? And they're addictive in nature.
Great question. So multiple reasons. Let's take the top one. So first of all, it's because of evolution. So we haven't evolved to live in a society, in an environment of decadence and having everything in our feet, not having to hunt, not having food every day, every minute, whenever we order, whenever we wanted. We haven't been evolved. We evolved for thousands of years to eat once every 3 days when we kill an animal, or it's being hunted, be very fit, and all this kind of stuff. So that's one. That's evolution. So we're still having the same receptor responses as 300 years ago or 200 years ago for sugar, for example, right? And we have much more sugar now than 100,000 years ago. That's one. The second is that because of in business, what you want is to maximize revenue, profit, etc. Right? So maximize profit. That means maximize revenue, minimize cost. Okay.
Yep.
So this is exactly what happened over the past 100 years, where we figure out the formula for creating things really fast at scale, creating things that they are cheap, and they taste amazing. Okay, that's fast food for you. By the way, that's the two main things. I want to be also a note, like a parenthesis here. It's not that the steak is bad. It's not even like that tortilla or bread is bad. None of it is bad. It's bad the way we consume it. Right? If I eat every day red meat, it has the molecules that may actually create cancer, like the indoles. So like it has different molecules that are not good for your colon. So when we overdo it, it's where things can go out of whack.
Interesting. That's the so it's the grilling of the steak that is bad for you, right? So pan fried, is that a bad thing? Is that
okay. So you're right. The process matters. The preparation matters, but what steak it is matters. Right?
Yeah.
But what I'm saying, you're right. But my point was more of the volume, the quantity.
Oh, the quality. Okay. We overdo it. We are inherently gluttonous, right? And is gluttony a function of this wax or dopamine receptors, and we love it, or is it a function of it's available and it's inexpensive, or both, or what?
Yeah. Actually, again, going back to the previous discussion, was these two things. It is a function of this how we evolved, and whenever you find food, just get it, right? But the second is also our upbringing and what our society is offering us, the world we created. And the world we created is that, you can go to a fast food place and get something for $5. That is fine. That's very good. And and you don't actually see, you don't know that you're getting that, you're eating your hot dog, and this one will get you to be diabetic in 5 years' time, and if you do that every day, and you're going to live X years less. I mean, your brain does not compute, it doesn't calculate that equation. And that's it. Versus like, if you see like a cliff, if you see like a brick wall, and you know that if you are going to hit the brick wall, you are going to be in pain. You know that.
Yeah. No, it's like, the more, nutrition is so notoriously complex. I have I have loads of friends who've tried the Atkins diet, and it's worked for them. I know folks who've tried the Atkins diet and it's worked remarkably well. But their weight plateaued, and they weren't able to lose much weight. So it sounds to me like two people can eat the exact same food and get wildly different biological outcomes, right? Can AI help answer some of those questions or unlock some of the value of that?
Yes, definitely. So that's a great point, that we are not the same. It's a very complex physiology, human physiology, and even the food matrix is complex, right? So how a diet it affects you versus me can be very, very different. Now, a few things. First of all, there are some general rules that apply to all of us. We know we shouldn't have too much sugar. We know that we need to exercise. We know that stress is bad. And eat more vegetable and more fruits and less ultra processed food. I mean, we know that, and this is true for everyone. Okay, everyone. There's not a single human. It will be no for me. If I have more sugar than normal, it's going to be great. This doesn't happen. Okay. Now, each of us is different, though, and what can be really bad for me, I can actually lead to cancer, or it can lead to extra weight that leads to diabetes or metabolic syndrome. It can be fine for you because of so many things that can happen. Like maybe your mechanism of action and the way that your cells excreting, for example, different molecules or enzymes, these are very different. Maybe your microbiome is very different, and it actually processes the food in a different way, and it protects or creates issues, right? So that is the individuality and the personalization we need. Now, it doesn't have to be to an n equal to 1. I don't think that this is going to happen anytime soon. It is happening in terms of groups of people. So if you have some comorbidities, if you have some ailments, if you're diabetic, XYZ, then this is the best thing for you. And they can even tailor to even n equal to 10, 15, like something that's more of a group thing. AI can definitely. So what is AI in general? So AI, what all it does is associating variables. So in a very simple way of thinking, if the sun goes up, then you have the temperature going up. So these two variables, sun and temperature, will go together. Or if clouds in the sky, then temperature goes down. So clouds are up, temperature is going down, right? But that's not in billions and billions of variables and associations. And that by doing that, it can predict, it can learn from data and predict, and even recommend actions, generate new data sets that resemble what it learned. So that is exactly what we want when we have a lot of data coming from human trials, from genome-wide association studies, or any kind of biases. That figuring out those very complex relationships, if you have enough data, is exactly what AI is good at. But you need a lot of data.
Yeah, it's interesting. Like AI is I think of it as like the platform that you've built is a digital dietitian, right? What in your mind, what does it get right that humans can scale to do? And then what are the current blind spots?
Yeah.
And I think you alluded to it a bit with data, right? So your AI is only as good as your inputs, presumably, right? And the data collected. And so I'm sure there are limitations to the type of data that you can collect, but I don't know. I'd be curious to hear how you think about it, kind of near term and longer term.
You're right. First of all, data is super important. So unless we have, again, it depends on the complexity of the problem, but some problems need billions of data points, literally. Unless we have these billions of the right data points, not any, with the right metadata, making sure that we can actually integrate and they are answering the right questions, you'll not be able to solve the problem with AI. You may be able, though, to create a hybrid system where you're using mechanistic models, you're using human experience to limit the space. For example, if you want to figure out how to drive a car, like AI to drive a car, you don't need to look at height, for example. It's not going to fly, right? It's a car.
Yep.
So you don't have to look at that. That is, you don't, if you actually model in a way that it looks also height, that it creates an exponentially difficult problem that you don't need. So go there and say, hey, you know what? Forget about height. I'm just looking XY plane, right?
Two axes
here.
Yeah.
Two axes.
Yeah.
The same thing with human physiology. If you're looking for creating food or finding bioactive molecules that they're good for you, etc., maybe you can actually create a mechanistic, a multi-physics, a chemical model, and then train that with AI, which is much easier because you're enforcing those constraints, because you know that the real constraints in the physical system. So that is a way to actually overcome it from billions and billions of data points, needing maybe thousands or tens of thousands of data points, much more manageable. What AI is doing well is, again, like assisting in any kind of bioactive discovery of new molecules, figuring out on how to create treatments, figuring out how to predict, diagnose and predict what might happen. Optimal decision making in terms of food is, again, putting in what ingredients to put, what is the recipe, what should be the process parameters, even go to market and how do you actually launch a product, or what's the product you need to actually come in the first place. And having those insights of that complexity in your fingertips at any point. So it doesn't slip. It can actually do that very high veracity and velocity.
Interesting. Where do you see the most immediate application of AI in nutrition? If you had a choice between chronic disease prevention, gut health, metabolic optimization, longevity, where do you see the biggest impact right out of the gates?
All those are very, very good examples. All of them. I mean, longer term longevity, term.
Yeah.
More immediate would be creating products that they can complement the GLP-1s of the world.
I see.
And help you actually either reduce your weight or retain your weight at the lower levels once you stop the GLP-1s, because there are side effects with those. So that I see that is an immediate thing that's needed.
Interesting. We've or like in your son's example, right? You made a couple of changes and there were immediate side effects. He was side effect free, I should say, right? So his chronic disease issues. So nutrition can have, if you get the right formulation or the right ingredients, it could have immediate effects. It's amazing how the food we eat day in, day out it can be killing us. It can be causing a lot of harm. And if you remove it, you get the immediate side effect. So I can appreciate that. And I think you and I have discussed the GLP-1 craze, right? There's a little bit of so call it hype in that market. that these GLP-1s are the immediate cures, and everybody's running to these virtual care platforms to get their prescriptions. We're starting to see more and more side effects come from that. Do you think you can build something that replaces that? Could you use food as medicine for the GLP application?
Yeah, that's a great question. Only if you're patient. What I mean is,
Yeah.
you will not be able to have Ozempic-like results with food. You need willpower and constraint. But you can create food that has less calories, it's more nutritious, and it tastes good. To replace things that they are not as healthy for you, and that will help you reduce your weight. You can even, and that is controversial what I'm saying, create food that has GLP-1 type effects of satiety. Again, remember, this is against, if you're in the business of selling food, this is against your business model.
Yeah.
You don't want to sell less food.
Yeah.
But it's better for our world. So the answer is, you can have something that has the type of effect, but not the magnitude you get with a drug like Ozempic or any kind of GLP-1 receptor drug.
When you say magnitude, are you talking about time domain or the outcome?
Time domain.
Time domain. Got it. So you could
effect per unit time.
I see. So so food as medicine, it takes a bit longer than just taking a magic pill, right? The pill itself, and again, nothing's magic, right? So there's something chemical going on, but there could be side effects because it's not how your body intended it, right? Whereas food, maybe is a bit more organic and plugs into, because we have evolved to eat food, right? We have not necessarily evolved to take medicine, as I think I've heard you say in the past. So a lot of what we're talking about here is personalized nutrition, right? And I think, and we talk about, personalized medicine, personalized health, precision medicine, it's right medicine for the right patient, right? It's kind of matchmaking, and it sounds like AI can do that. So how far away are we from AI recommending diets, not just based on broad categories, but based on microbiome, genetics, and real-time biomarkers?
Yeah, a lot, right? These are very, very important things in the way that we perceive and process food, our body process foods. So there needs to be a synergy and a harmony, if you will, of all those components. And the question is, how do you actually achieve that? There are companies out there, what they do is they are checking for your microbiome, Zoe, for example, one of them, and they are optimizing your nutrition based on that. It's still to be a lot of the research we don't have it yet, and again, this is because of the complexity of those interactions. This is, I think, in the next 20 years, we're going to be cartography, we're going to be solving that more and more. The other elements that are even more difficult, for example, in kind of mental health issues, which is, believe it or not, but many of those are, they have relevance to even food. Again, this is because of, chronic inflammation or any kind of molecules that we are being processed. These are very difficult problems to solve.
So are we 5 years away from this, 10 years away from this, 20 years away from it? Like what's your prediction on when will we be able to get truly personalized nutrition that has impacts on say your microbiome or your biomarkers?
At scale? For public health, or especially like a cohort of 10 people that they have the money and they are...
Yeah, great question. At scale. 10
years.
10 years. Okay. All right. We're documenting this conversation right now.
I'll send you 2035.
I'm going to place a bet here, okay? Let me ask you a bit of a retroactive question here. So in 2015, okay, because 10 years ago you started PIPA. Did you like where the world is today with AI? Did you predict it, or were you just completely blown away? Were your predictions in 15 completely off? I mean, what's your sort of take looking back on this whole thing?
They are off in some sense. But we predicted, anyone in the field,
Yeah.
what's happening now. It's just happening a bit faster.
Yep.
So the fact that the world is gonna wake up in terms of data driven science, technology, applications, impact, etc. That was very clear. That was never the fact that the AI will be able to do some of the things we do much better. There's no question about that. What really changed was, especially 2018 with the transformers, the advances that we actually had, what these large language models can do. And the velocity, how much innovation we had from then to now, that actually, at least for me, it took me by surprise. I was expecting that to be in 10 years and it came in 3 years. It was much, much faster. Wow. Now, it might be that, other people smarter, Jeffrey Hinton, for example, was saying, okay, let's actually too slow, not too fast. But personally, this is the one point that I didn't get right. I was expecting more, but anything else, I mean, there's no, and I'm expecting more things to happen, like consciousness, for example, fear and all this kind of stuff. This is not science fiction for us.
Yeah. What's kind of looking back, what's the one misconception you had early on in your entrepreneurial journey about whether it's about AI's role or just building the company, right? So what's one misconception that you had about building this company that if you had to do it all over again, you would?
Great question. Great question. Are we recording still? So I don't know if I would go to food to start with.
Yeah.
Not because there is not a need or impact. There is. But it was a bit early when I did it.
Okay.
And I say something that I laugh and then I cry. I said, like, I went to food, and that's why we have a company of 80 people. If I went to drugs and medicine, I would have a company of 800 people. Which is true. It's like it's more slowly evolving. The need is there, but it's frustrating to get partnerships, to get data, to change the mindset of how things need to be done. It's much more difficult. Investment is not there. So the best deal in food, in terms of AI in food, is the worst deal in drug in AI. I mean, it's challenging. While at the same time you're paying for talent, but this talent can work somewhere else. They don't have these issues. So that is something I didn't think too much. I just went there for impact. But I didn't realize early on that that would be such an obstacle to scaling up an impact. That's my one regret. But I have great partners in the food space, being very fortunate to be trusted by some of the biggest companies out there, and having great colleagues. So I'm very lucky in that sense, and that balance everything.
Very cool. Very cool. Yeah. So I know we've been on for some time. I want to move on a bit and then wrap things up. But I did want to touch a little bit on your entrepreneurial journey before we let you go here. You're a founder. You've been doing this for 10 plus years. You're sitting at the intersection of AI and science. I think AI plus science has its own unique challenges, right? You're also dealing with regulatory bodies, et cetera, that can be challenging. How do you balance the rigorous validation requirements of this space with startup speed?
Yeah, that's a good question. It's trying to find the most frictionless, easy way to deliver value.
Mm-hmm.
And if you go for regulation, if you're having to do with regulatory bodies, that is not going to be fast. It will be going. It is not a game we're playing. We're helping our clients to do any kind of filings or do their own what they know how to do well. But we are not basically, improving the regulatory landscape, or we are not working with. Actually, that's not true. We are working with some agencies, but we mostly focus on the R&D, connecting the dots in R&D and delivering those products. And that companies they are eager to accelerate. They say, okay, instead of having 2 years or 3 years to develop a product, can I do it in 6 months? They are eager to do that. So we find some traction there that it is very much analogous and aligned with the startup mentality.
Very interesting. Very interesting. Yeah. Do you think, so actually, sorry, what advice would you give to another entrepreneur who's trying to enter your space, right? What advice would you give them, and how would you sort of guide them along?
Yeah, space of AI generally, or AI and food?
Both. Yeah, both. AI and food most relevantly, but
AI.
Yeah.
AI, I'm telling my son, right? He's getting ready for his college. He's pretty good in AI, and he can actually create applications. All that. I'm telling him, like, forget about college. Like, just go jump. Right now is the right time, especially if you're working on agentic AI, to go and streamline those workflows, figure out like a market where it can be done if there's a real need, and jump right now, create your own company, get funding. It's a very, very good environment for that. Now, whether you are successful or not is besides the point. You're not doing that for money. This is important. Of course, you want money at the end, but you're doing that for the experience. You're doing that for becoming a better version of yourself and going for the journey. That's it. I mean, it's difficult to have a better environment than what we have now in terms of investment. It is agentic AI. That's my recommendation, my suggestion to younger people. In terms of AI and food, I would say that go there. There's a huge need. It is rewarding because you are having something that you can taste. Everybody likes to cook, or many people like to cook. You can feel it. Like, everybody has this experience. You can't be a human and not having the experience of food. So it's very rewarding. Now, go there with your eyes open. Less pay. I think if you want more money, don't go to food. If there is the infrastructure, the CapEx to actually create products and be able to control the data sources, because you are the person who is creating that food, right? It's humongous, it's very big. You're not going to be, normally you're not going to be able to do it. So you need partners. And those partnerships are not that frictionless, as I was saying before. They're not as easy as in other sectors where, hey, you want data about cars? I want self-driving cars? Here's the API, go and get it, right? With food, this doesn't exist. It's much more analogous, not standardized as in other sectors. So you go to, stock market, right? Like financial engineering, right? Like, it's like numbers, it's dollars.
No shortage.
It's like,
no shortage of data.
No shortage, exactly. Yeah. And data and standardization. We have the standards, the 6 standards for XYZ. In food, doesn't exist. So if you're saying, okay, somebody's tasting it, it's like, it's good. I like it. Why do you like it? I don't know. I like it. What does that mean? How can I quantify that and put it in AI? Right? You have sensory panels. You have a lot of subjective experiences. It's much more, as I said, subjective and qualitative versus quantitative.
Interesting. You mentioned agentic AI, right? I think that is a buzzword that I keep hearing about. Can you define what does that mean to you? What is agentic AI, just for the listeners out there?
Agentic AI is the use of agents for delivering prediction recommendations actions. What is an agent? Agent is an autonomous piece of program routine, usually being implemented with LLMs these days, large language models, and it's being able to do, again, autonomous is the magic word, meaning without you doing any stuff. It's as having a system. Okay,
Got it. Got it.
that's it. Something, for example, let's say for scheduling restaurants. Normally I had to figure out if to call and figure out if there is a position where I want to go, the weather, the traffic patterns, figure out when I'm going to. All that can be actually handled by an agent that may also have a voice and can call, can schedule, it can do the optimal thing that you like in a personalized way if it has the right input. So that's agenda.
Is it dangerous, Ilias? Is it, I was watching a YouTube video the other day, and, there's some draconian predictions about where agentic AI is going. Do you see the risks and the dangers of it? Or do you think it's all just a bunch of hype?
It's a bunch of hype. Agentic it's more dangerous than any kind of other technology and how we are using it. No, it's not. So it will become dangerous, and it is dangerous because of human nature. What I mean by that, if you trust it too much without being thoroughly tested, or you can say trust but verify, right? Then it can be dangerous if you have like an agent that's your doctor and then it prescribes your pills. And we have seen these issues. We had like issues where we had suicidal people consulting agents that they're doing like a psychologist work, and it didn't go well. People died because of this. This is of course, you cannot, one of the biggest issue with anything with AI is because it's so good, it's so easy for us to believe that it knows everything. We are trusting it so much. We should have the right education, and we don't have it right now because this is too nascent for us, that this is not true. We need to have the right guardrails to protect us from any kind of fake news or something that looks good, real, but it's not. So that is where the danger is. If we let it actually, again, being our doctor, being our soldier, being our supervisor in any kind of mission critical applications, then it becomes dangerous.
What about topics like, agentic AI or AI more broadly staging a coup and taking down a government, for example, right? And arguably we're training AI to be superior, right? And quite frankly, autonomous, to think on their own. Do you, what are the risks of that? And do you believe we as a people or the governments themselves have a duty to kind of regulate some of the AI that's being built?
Yeah, that's a great question. So the answer is no, I'm not worried. I'm not in the short term. I am worried though regarding a speciation event where once AI becomes as conscious, becomes a different species. And then that's one. It will happen at some point. And that's one. The second is when it will have physical substance, robotics, and will be able to interact with the physical world. That's the second. That would be actually where we are running into an existential threat, because any kind of guardrails, any kinds of switches we may actually put there through evolution. These things may be able to evolve, and not the same way we evolve, but they will be able to get out of those systems. I can see how this can go really bad for humanity. But we are talking not in our lifetimes. We're talking about our kids or our grandkids.
Interesting. Well, in the more short term, is it going to? What's the impact on jobs? Right, everyone's talking about this right now. It's a hot topic. It's going to replace millions of jobs. What's your take on that?
Yeah, it will replace billions of the jobs the way that any kind of revolution replaces jobs, but also creating new ones.
Ah,
You remember internet, like we were, 15 years we were not spring chickens here.
yeah, yep,
When we had the internet coming up, and yeah, it did change the whole brick and mortar, the malls, and you remember Sears and Macy's and all these
yeah,
superstores that they were very Toys R Us. They were very, very powerful at the time. Nobody could think before the internet that, oh my God, this will go extinct. And look at now. But at the same time, again, on the same analogy paradigm, it created Amazon and created
yeah,
the e-commerce that made like trillions of dollars in terms of new value. It created hundreds of thousands to millions of jobs.
yeah.
So yes, those repetitive jobs, if you're a receptionist, if you are and doing something in repetition in a belt in the factory, even if you are even if you are like very vanilla in a second level, for example, mathematician or even a lawyer, those things are going to be replaced. Again, not if you are a lawyer, something that needs the human interaction, but if the only thing you're doing is the standard contracts, for example,
Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
that your
Mm-hmm.
job 95% is going to be simulated by LLMs and agents. So yeah, this is going to be a evolution. It's going to be a transformative. We already see it. Transformation happening in the marketplace, the workplace.
You mentioned consciousness, right? So do you believe AI will ultimately amplify human creativity or completely replace it?
Oh yeah, that's a good one. That's a good one. I think there are going to be ups and downs. I think that we need to get educated on this, and the new generation needs to understand how to work with AI together on this. I don't have an answer here. I think we'll do both. Um, I think that once you know how to use it, you basically it puts you on steroids, and it can be a co-creator with you, but not replacing you, right? Um, Essentially, like what I want to say. Okay, so this is very personal and very subjective. But
Uh-huh.
what I believe is that we should use AI to evolve ourselves. We should use it to actually accelerate our own evolution as human species. Evolution is happening at whole, it's happening, continue happening. It's just the time scales of evolution are not as they're long term. Why not using AI to actually get the best version of ourselves, figuring out more about how we can evolve humans faster and make them better, and do that? Why not eradicating diseases? Why not creating brains that they are much more powerful, human brains?
Yeah.
I think that is where I would target it very, very carefully, of course, because it can go the wrong way.
Mm-hmm. 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 Yeah. No, that makes sense. In terms of public misconceptions, what do you see as the single greatest misconception that the general public has about AI today?
You mentioned some. It will take over and rule the world. It's going to destroy us.
Mm-hmm. Uh-huh.
I don't think the public understands. I mean, why should they? They don't know the architecture and what are the limitations. They can't actually train the AI, the algorithms. That this is very limited right now, and vice versa for people. So people tend to be one or the other, right? Oh, it's going to take over. And others, no, it will never happen. They cannot be doing that. Humans can be over. None of these are true, in my opinion. The truth is somewhere in the middle. That yes, no, we don't run any. I don't think we run in danger right now, but it can be a danger to our species in 200 years from now. So I think that's the biggest. That's the biggest one.
Very cool. Very cool.
Yeah, the others, again, there's a lot of uncertainty and anxiety about the job market. I don't know if it's misconception. It's just exciting. It's a very reasonable response.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that our governments, our world leaders, our society should do a better job to calculate those risks, provide alternatives, and have a better transition to AI. So people are not afraid, but they should be assessing danger and pivoting as they should.
Yeah, no, it makes sense. If you had a chance to ask one unanswered question about the future of AI, something that no data set can tell us yet, what would it be?
To answer, right?
Yeah.
The question.
Yeah. Yeah.
Where will AI be in, take your pick, 100, 500, 1,000 years? Can it actually tell us like how human AI cohabitation and co-evolution happen? How will our grandkids be? That's the question. Because everything else it's a no-brainer. I mean, if you ask me, okay, are we gonna go to other planet? Duh, of course. I said, is AI will become conscious? Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
I mean, there's no question mark. The question is when it will happen.
When?
And once it happens, because we don't know the when, we don't know how our environment will be. So if it happens very fast, we know that the world will be fine, will not have depletion of resources at an extreme. But are we going to be ready to actually be able to work with it? If it happens later, that is an issue with our world because of climate change, because of everything that's happening. And some of them are cyclical, some of them are not. They are human-made. And the question is, will we have enough time to respond? Right? I'm an optimist. I believe that everything will turn out good, but
I love it.
That's the question on that.
So you are very hopeful. So if you think about the prospect of AI, people who are hopeful, cautious, radical, all kind of adjectives to describe the future of AI. Where are you on that spectrum right now?
I think this is an amazing time to live. It's an amazing era. It's the dawn of a new era.
Yeah.
I'm very bullish on AI. I'm very hopeful. I am doing AI for the last 25 years, so I better be bullish. At the same time, I do see the danger. It's not fear. I'm not afraid. I just assess danger and I see that it's a calculated danger that we have. It's real. This is real. So because I don't, and I shouldn't control what happens with AI and with the regulations and how people are going to use it. There is a danger that it could go sideways. But I'm so excited. What an exciting time to live.
It's awesome. No, it is a very exciting time. And we've really enjoyed the session. I've really enjoyed the session with you, and I'm sure the listeners are going to love listening to this. Before we let you go, what are your kind of parting words to our listeners out there? Do you have any final thoughts that you wanted to share with our listeners to leave them with at this point in time? And then where can they find you if they want to reach out?
Yes, well, thank you for coming, Tom. That was great. I really enjoyed it. What I wish I could say that this is deep fake. This is not Ilias. This is a real book.
Surprise.
Yeah, and I'm happy. I mean, just a Google reference or ChatGPT these days. You can find my email address. I often get a lot of mails, more than 1,000 mails per day, of people that want advice either for graduate school or undergraduate or how to start a company or how to work in this field. Happy to help whenever I can. And it's either through PIPA or through the USDA's address. Thank you for having me here. Very nice.
This was awesome. Thank you again. Thank you so much. I know the listeners are going to love it. Thanks so much.
Thank you.
Take care. Bye-bye.